Peace, everybody. Welcome to Capital of Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch, and I got a quick counter for you. Today is actually a combination of the quick counter. We got a preview video and a mailbag question all rolled into one. One of our viewers wrote in and asked us about the fight between Kimbo Slice and Dada 5000, which is happening this Friday the 19th. Now, unfortunately, Rob and I couldn't get our schedules gelled together to do it together, so you just get my side. Also on that card, you have two MMA stalwarts, two veterans, two pioneers of the sport, and Ken Shamrock and Shamrock-Gracie are going to settle their almost 20-year feud also on the main event of this card. It's Bellator MMA on Spike TV in the US. Also, you have Emmanuel Newton versus Linton Vassell in another rematch that they had, I think, sometime last year for when Newton was the light heavyweight champ. No longer is the case. I think they're fighting for that #1 contender slot. But I'm just going to talk about Slice and Dada 5000 and Shamrock and Gracie. So starting off with Kimbo Slice and Dada 5000, that was the main fight that our viewer wanted to hear about. And in this one, you have a veteran. Kimbo Slice can be considered a veteran because he came up in the street fighting game, did that for a very long time, got lots of fame and notoriety off of it, used that to transition into MMA, had a little bit of success there, lost to some more seasoned fighters, which, you know, is expected, then transitioned on to pro boxing, and then returned to MMA. So he made his return to MMA last fall, defeating Ken Shamrock, of all people, in the Bellator cage. So this is going to be a second fight with Bellator. And with Dada 5000, you got a guy who grew up with Kimbo Slice. They know each other very well. He was a part of Kimbo's entourage. And once Kimbo decided to go into the more acceptable routes of fighting, Dada said, hey, let me take over the street fighting thing. And they weren't too happy about that. So they kind of split up. There's probably a lot more to it than that, but that's the main thing. He wanted to keep doing the street fighting thing, and they weren't, Kimbo and his brain trust weren't having it. So Dada went off on his own. After his first MMA fight, which is on the Dogfight documentary, and it's on YouTube, he challenges Kimbo Slice to a fight, and now, a few years later, we get it in the Bellator cage. Now, from watching the little bit of footage that I've seen on Dada 5000, the guy looks incredibly slow. He looked clueless on the ground and looked like, from the outside looking in, it looks like it's going to be a very easy fight for Kimbo Slice. Kimbo Slice is faster. He's got more seasoning. He's been in there with better people. He's been training for longer. And all those combined should equal a win for Kimbo. And probably a fairly easy one if he doesn't let the emotions get to him in the fight. Because they both seem to be pretty emotionally invested in it because of how well they know each other and the personal things between them. So if he doesn't get too emotionally involved, he should take this fight easily. On to the main event. Shamrock-Gracie. You know these guys. Shamrock from UFC and WWF/WWE. Shamrock-Gracie is like in the first family of MMA. These guys, his entire family, are well known throughout the entire industry. Stellar records for both of them. Their reputations precede them. Now, in their first fight, Gracie made Shamrock tap fairly quickly. A little bit of controversy involved. Find that out. It was a pretty bizarre match, if you can find it, at UFC number 1. UFC number 5, they battled to a draw. The first draw ever. They didn't have judges at the time. MMA was still very, very young. But now they're fighting at an open weight fight. And I believe because it's in Texas, they got special permission to do it. But this is going to harken back to those old school MMA days where they had no weight classes. They'll still have the time limits and the judges and everything. But there's no weight limits. And the guys can just come in at whatever weight they choose that they feel the best at and go at it. And this leads to an advantage for both guys because Shamrock can use his size and strength, and Gracie can use his technique and show what Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is really all about, because that's really where the whole MMA concept as a sport came from, was the Gracie challenges back in the day, and his family, most like his father and his uncles, being challenged by other martial artists and guys on the street to challenge Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So we kind of got a little old school feel here, especially with these guys being a little on the old side. Shamrock 51, Gracie 49, but they're still pretty sharp, and you'll probably see a whole lot more skill here than you will in the co-main event with Slice and 5000. We already know that. So for this one, I think Gracie's technique should be able to beat Shamrock's intensity. It should still be a good fight, but check it out. And that's all I got for you, real quick. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Check us out on Facebook, Google+, Instagram, Capital of Combat. You can hit us up on our email, capitalofcombat@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments, hit us up below or on any of those mediums, and we'll get back to you, put you in the combat mailbag, any of that good stuff. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Peace.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and gone. My fists are on fire.